Okay, we're recording. All right. Thank you guys for getting on tonight for our East Coast Honeybees team call on Monday, January 28th with our special guest, Duana. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Very happy to have you here with us this evening. And this call came about, so obviously you guys know this is our time for us to meet this second time in the month. And Duana and I were speaking, and we had a call last week, and we got on the subject of course, our team. And Duana, I love how accessible you are. I love how invested you are in all of our well-beings and the growth of our business and us as people too. It's really, it just speaks volumes of you and of the company and what we're all a part of. So I want to say thank you for taking your time this evening to be with us tonight. And of course, Duana works with so many other teams and so many teams that are really, moving and grooving. And so she always gets the inside scoop on what's working. And we love to pull from that and see, what we can be maybe doing better, or grab some tips, grab some insight and so forth. So we wanted to come together this evening, hear from Duana. Of course, if you have any questions too, let's use this time as well. But the things that are working for other teams, and we talk about this a lot, but like events, I'm going to put this in our chat, sharing our stories, how we're inviting to events, kind of getting butts in seats. We always hear that phrase. So I'm not going to take too much time. I'm going to turn it over to Duana. And if you want to jump right in, and then if we have some time to open it up for questions, I'd love for that too.
Sure. Thank you, Danielle. And thank you, team, for allowing me to come in. And I know I just want to kind of level set. We're going to talk for the next 20 minutes or so, but really, I think the aha that I got after talking to Danielle last week was really letting the team come together and really do workshop where I can be up close and personal with you. We can be in each other's presence and really be able to really learn from each other and share with each other. So for this evening, it's just things that I think we should work on and think about. And then when I finish talking, we can talk about what's the best way you guys want to go about getting the information. So one of the things that we know that we hear about all the time is events. That is definitely key. Being comfortable with hosting an event, being comfortable inviting to an event, knowing who you're inviting to an event, how to invite, words to say, how to follow up, and what type of event is going to capture people's attention. And one of the things I was asking Danielle was, and I'm going to pose this question to you guys, what is your community about? Like, what is your audience? When you have an event and you're thinking about inviting someone, who is your audience? Because understanding who it is will help you kind of tailor that event to your audience. So who's your audience?
Anyone want to jump in?
My audience are my friends, mostly moms of kids my kids' age, classmates, moms.
So moms.
Mm-hmm. I would like my audience to be everybody. So I have to extend my audience. I have to just look at people, everybody as my audience, as opposed to just my friends and family.
Okay. How would you go about doing that? So when you say everybody, so let's say so I'm sorry, Kata, before you answer, let's have an event. What was the last event that you guys had?
As a team, it was our Design a Life You Love. What was that, like 2 weeks ago now or so?
Okay, so let's talk about that event. Who did you have in mind to invite to that event? And now I'm going to go back to you, Kato, because you said it's everybody. But thinking back to that event, who did you specifically reach out to invite?
I had two people that were supposed to come, but neither one of them showed up.
That's okay. But who was that audience?
Who were the people that were coming?
Mm-hmm.
One was one of my personal training clients,
mm-hmm.
and one was one of my good buddies' ex-girlfriends.
Okay. All right. Fair. And I'm asking him that question because we have teams that are doing really well with events have in mind who they want to invite. And based on who they want to invite, then they really work towards doing that. So my recommendation is Design a Life You Love. We'll use that as the event, and let's really think about who it is we want to invite. So you said it would be moms at school. Who in particular would that be? And Chrisanne, I want each of you write 3 names down of people who for this event you would invite to specifically. 3 people. Because again, part of it is understanding the audience. And one thing that I've learned and teams are learning is if you want 2 people to come, how many people do you really think you got to invite?
20.
Exactly. So the numbers have to be bigger than who's really gonna show up. So when we talk about events, it's okay, every time you have an event, what are the 20 or 25 people that I can reach out to, but who are the 2 or 3 that I really, really want to come? Because those are the 2 that 2 or 3 that you're really gonna do all out effort to make to do the best that you can to get them there. But you gotta have a list of 20 or 25 people. So number 1, when you have an event, have your list of 20 to 25 people that you're gonna reach out to. That's number 1. Now, when you have the Design the Life You Love event, when did you reach out to those people? So what was the date? So the date, let's just say today. The date was what date? It was 2 weeks ago, Danielle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, was it the 17th?
Okay, so January 17th. So I'm gonna ask, when did you guys start inviting to that event? It was January 17th.
Like a week before.
Okay, so Kato says a week before. Anybody else?
I did a week before, and then some that I thought of were like 3 or 4 days before.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like sometimes people they can do it. They're just okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and okay, forget it. I was just gonna
No. Say shit, because this is all about us talking to shit.
So some of my friends that I invited didn't come though because they had other things going on, or women in my women particular in my life that are really good business women.
Mm-hmm.
Like they do. I just love their energy and like how they work, and I love inviting them because they get this kind of stuff.
Got it.
But and then some or even just my customers who absolutely love just being on the product. So you know, wanting them to be in an atmosphere where, you know, Danielle or Jen were telling and I were telling our stories, and they get like a whole different vibe from me just talking to them about the business. Awesome. Or even a 3-way call. It's different when we're around everyone. So,
So rule of thumb would be, if you want somebody to come to that event, the earlier you let them know what that date is, the better. Because people plan and last minute things happen. So teams that are doing this well, they're going out a week, 3 weeks before the event starts to occur. 3 to 4 weeks before the event to send out the invitation, to extend that invitation. And that's coming from your list of 20 to 25 people that you want to have come to this event, right? Mm-hmm. Also, understanding who is going to speak. So in the Design Your Life, it was yourself, Chrisanne, you said, Danielle, Jen, who else was speaking?
The 3.
Okay. If you're going to go to an event, let's just put ourselves there. What do you want to know about that event? If you're going to go to an event, what do you want to know? What's the first thing you want to know?
What you're going to get out of it.
And who's going to speak?
Yeah.
Who's going to speak? So when you're inviting to events, find 2 or 3 things that you can say specifically about that speaker. So in this case, it was Danielle, Chrisanne, and Jen. I would have found 2 sentences to describe each of them. Could have been moms. Jen, for you, because your audience is about moms, you would have said, wow, all these ladies, Chrisanne, you have children? Young children? You could have said, Jen.
I have a load of children, Dawana. I have a lot of kids.
So you could have said, knowing your audience, Jen, wow, this is going to be a powerful event. Working moms like you and I who are sharing their story on how they're being able, you would say, again, knowing who the audience is, juggling something of their own with balancing the family and finding that time. I can't wait to go, and I know this may be something of interest for you. So, lack of a better word, that's Jen's audience. Cato, you might have said, knowing it was these 3 ladies. So now I'm going to ask you, with the 2 people that you invited, your personal trainer?
I am, yeah.
No, the person that you had invited, right?
Oh, one of my clients. Yeah.
One of your clients.
Personal training client, yeah.
What could you have said about this particular event?
What I told her that that she's a younger girl, like in her 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So I told her that this is a bunch of ladies that have been through the stuff you've been through, and because she teaches kids, and she's
Mm-hmm.
frustrated about the kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she just bought Juice Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her that that all of these ladies are involved in health and fitness, and they'd be a good example and good people to talk to outside of her friend group, which is largely not very positive or healthy.
Awesome. So there was a connection with these 3 women, with that particular person, because you mentioned they may have experienced something that she experienced. So that's good. So there was a connection there. And that's what you want to be mindful of. For the people that you're inviting, what is, as Danielle said, the value in that event for them specifically? So the part 2 of that, Cato, could I have done a quick connection call with Danielle, Jen, or Chrisanne to say, oh my goodness, are you interested? Because she probably said yes. Then said, you know what? Let me know what time and day, because I would love for you just 5 minutes just to talk to one of these ladies, because I'm sure you'll really want to know what they're going to talk about. So maybe 3 or 5 minutes, they can share a little bit about their story. Give her an opportunity to hear so that her interest is really piqued and she's curious enough to really want to make a concerted effort to come. Not that she didn't, I'm not passing judgment, but it whets the appetite. So number 1, we're saying 3 to 4 weeks before the event, get your list of 20 to 25. Find value for that invitee with the main speakers. Give them some information on who that speaker is, why it would be of value for them, right? Then you want to start, and then you want to give them the flyer, the information. So whether it's downloaded on your phone, you're sending it in a text message, Facebook Live, whatever your mode of communication is, make sure you actually send them that flyer. Now, texting the words is great, but a lot of times these flyers are so pretty. And when you see the flyer all put together, you're like, whoa, wow, I really want to check that out. Number 1, it looks professional. Number 2, it's going to show the faces of the people. And a lot of times that resonates because I can see myself. I'm like, okay, this is a community I might want to show up to. So always make sure you have that promotional piece ready when you invite that person. So you want to make sure you send it out to them. If you have, I know paper, a lot of people are not using paper, but if you are, in your case, Cato, wanting to share the opportunity with as many people as you can come across, you may want to have some flyers made up because you in conversation, you may want to be able to send that, or if you get the contact information. So you always want to have that there because that's a professional introduction to what they're about to listen to. Then 2 weeks prior to, you want to circle back to all of those people that you invited and you want to get an answer from them. Yes, no, maybe. For the ones that are no, you want to make a mark. You want to star. Because those that are saying no, you want to take notes, 2 or 3 things for each of those people, because you're still going to follow up with them on what they missed. For those that say yes, great. Highlight them, do whatever you are, because you know those are your star people. For the people that are maybe, you might want to ask a couple more people, couple of more questions. What are you on the fence? Is it time? Is it transportation? Depending upon the relationship of who you are, could you pick them up? Could they carpool with somebody? Oh my goodness, I don't have a whole hour to spend. Oh, don't worry about it. If you only got 15 or 20 minutes that you can spare, come. I think I'm going to be late. I'm not going to be there on time. Get there whenever you want. So you just want to reassure that person that says maybe, find out a little more why that maybe is not a yes, and give them some things to think about. Again, that may be another opportunity to get a connection call. And then again, you also want to remind that person why you invited them, why this might be beneficial to them. So you want to reinforce why they were on your invitee list, right? Then a week before, you want to follow up again. You're like, okay, so here we go again. So now you're with the yeses and the maybes. So let's just say out of the 25 people, you now have 10. You had 10 yeses. No, that's because that's a high number. You got 5 yeses and 3 maybes, right? So now you call back. It's a week before. Those 5 yeses now went to 3 yeses, and the 3 maybes went to 1 maybe and definitely 2 no's because something totally came up. Okay, great. So now those 2 maybes that went to a no, you're going to stall them because you're still going to follow up. The day before, or 2 days, I would say 2 days before, because now we come down. 2 days before, you're going to remind your yeses, the event, you're going to be there, you want to introduce them to the guests that are coming. You can't wait for them to come. Now you might have one that yes that turned into a maybe, I'm not sure, and that may be still a maybe, and the next day you want to remind them again. Part of the invitation, part of the event is not the event itself so much, but working along every week, letting that guest know that they're important to you and it's important for them to get to this event. So that follow-up is critical. And I know it takes a little bit of work, but what you'll find, and what teams that have done that process, they have found that they have a guest that actually say yes and come. And that guest also, because of the interaction, has also brought another guest. So that's just something to really think about when you plan the next event. And it might even be next week you come together and you guys are going to plan an event and you have people in mind. You might want to tailor the event based on a specific person, or theme that may draw in different people. So having that 4-week time frame to really work with that guest is key. Once the event happens, we want to show up, you want to introduce your guests to a couple of people, as we all know. Once the event is over, then comes part 2. It's 24 hours after, we really want to follow up, because a lot can happen from the time that they left you to the time that they're thinking about, maybe they're thinking about the product, maybe they're thinking about joining, or maybe they're not thinking about anything, but you want to close the loop with them and find out, what did you like about the event? What you didn't like about the event? What questions do you have? Was this beneficial to you? That's the group that came. The ones who didn't come, you want to just share 2 or 3 points that you took and say, I'm so sorry you weren't able to get to this event. I just want to share with you a couple of things that we talked about that I thought would be of interest to you. And then continue that relationship with them so that you have them in mind for the next event. So that's really the key to getting butts in seats, is that connection with them from day one. The other piece is really, again, how we invite to that event. So if we know, I'm going to go back to you, Jen, if you know it's moms, the words that we say to those people are key. Because, a lot of times it's like, what am I going to say? Or I know them. Am I just going to say, wow, this event for moms that I think you would be great at, I think you would really get value out of? Or is it knowing the individual moms and knowing that there's something that maybe in conversation or something that, you know, the kids are into that would pique their interest. So really, again, understanding the audience is going to help you how to have the invitation. So for a mom that you see all the time, maybe, what's one of the scenarios, Jen, that you have for one of the moms that you would invite to an event?
What do you mean by scenario?
So like, how would you, so for the Design the Life You Love event, how did you invite one of the moms, would you say?
Well, for this particular event, it was the other Jen. It wasn't me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, we both have the same, so so moms.
So did you invite for this event?
I didn't.
Okay.
Well, she was away too.
I was away.
Okay, you're off the hook. Greta,
Yeah.
did anybody
She was
invite you to this event? Because I would love to hear kind of how you invited.
I'm in Florida, so I didn't invite anyone to this event. I
Wow,
don't know
Greta.
anyone
Okay,
to
we're
it.
gonna have to
We have
work
to-
on things for you.
Yes.
I have my own events though here. The last 4 weeks in a row I had 3 salad jars, and then we did fruit salads because I got tired of
Awesome,
vegetables.
awesome. So Greta, tell us, how do you invite for those events? When you have the salad in the jar party, how did you invite? What did you say?
It's mostly people that I know, but also kind of latching onto their friends on Facebook. And when I say latching on, I mean I'm like following their conversations and trying to just continue those relationships with my friends. And when their friends seem to get excited about something that was related to it, I've been like kind of chiming in and saying you're welcome to come, or
Awesome.
that kind of thing.
Awesome. So, but how do you extend? So, is your invitation through Facebook? Is that how you just put it out there like that, and then whoever comes? Do you actually send a message to specific people?
About half the time I put it out there on my page, but most of the time I was just sending specific messages to people, or having conversations with someone at work or that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. And that is key. That's another key. That personal invitation, even when you do it on social media, when you have, those names of 20 people, we want to make sure that we are reaching out to each one of them individual. Putting it on social media is great because that is going to create the curiosity, but that actual invitation, there's nothing like having an invitation from somebody specific, because then you really want it. I always say, someone says, oh, come with me too. I'm like, I don't know, because they invited you, they didn't necessarily invite me. That's just me personally. So sometimes that's what people think about. So you want to, again, for those 20 or 25 people that you have in mind, you want to give them a personal invitation. And a lot of times, I know we hate to pick up the phone, but the best invite is picking up that telephone and talking to them live, if you can. Some people just will not, and we get it, and they'll respond to it. You call them, they won't answer you. You send them that text, and they're answering you back in, less than 2 seconds. But really try to pick up that phone, because that really just tells the person, wow, we're having a live conversation, and that's the best method. And then the more you invite certain individuals, the more they will, when they see your name, they'll pick up the phone. So that is also a good rule of thumb, to really reach out to them as much as you can, try to connect with them live, have that conversation, but really think about the event and how it could be of value to them. And a lot of times we're asking them to come to an event because we've already built a relationship. And when we have a relationship, you just use one or two of what you've built to bring curiosity to get them to that event. So Jen, so somebody just tell me, how would you invite someone to the Design Your Life event?
Oh.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I had a question.
Oh.
Do you want to come back to me?
Yeah, no, but you was raising your hand. No,
I was going to ask a question. Okay. Well, one event that we do sorry for the earbuds. My kids are still awake. Okay. So an event that we do often as a team, and I host as often as I can, is meal prep. And so, obviously I still need to invite people to those.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's the same people over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And B, it's the same invitation over, hey, I'm doing meal prep again. Hey, I'm doing meal prep again. Mm-hmm. So how do you suggest keeping that fresh? Because it's exciting to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love meal prep. We all do. It's why we do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
and this is meal prep for shred, or what is when you say meal prep?
it's usually like a salad in a jar or an overnight oats, like something like that.
Okay, all right.
It's typically kicking off the start of a shred.
Okay.
Right. So the people coming may be shredders. Or they may not, obviously.
Okay. So you have some people coming who are curious, and then you have some that are really coming because they're going to shred with you.
Right. And I'm just feel like my invitations are starting, not that they're starting to get stale, they're starting to get very casual, which
Mm-hmm.
may be okay, but it's me sending out text messages to my friends. Hey, good news. Another meal prep is coming. We're going to do salads this time. Hope you can make it. So the people that are like my regulars,
Mm-hmm.
the people I invite very often.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I need to get into like a long-winded explanation about what it is, because
Agreed.
they either have been or I've already invited them 100 times.
So this is where I would say to you, for that particular one, we're the 20 or 25 new people. Every time that there's an event, you should have a new list of people. You're going to have your regulars that you'll always extend. And like you said, you don't need to explain anything to them, but in order to get new people, you got to send out new invitations. Or ask your friend, as your friends are coming, just say, hey, I would love, we're doing, you could do a challenge, bring a friend with you. I challenge you to bring a friend, and you do something fun that you can get out of it. Because if you do it the same way, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and trying to find a different, and hoping that it's going to be a different outcome. The only way it's going to be a different outcome is if we have that list of different people. So that's where it really comes into play. Well, who would you like? You always invite these guys, but if you could invite 25 different people, who would they be? Extend it out. Who would that list, who could that be for you? And think about it from that perspective. And then with that, and once you know who that person is, then I would say as a team, let's talk about how you would invite that person, because that's the key. The regulars are the regulars. And I'll be honest with you, the regulars, they're going to come because you've asked them, but having them bring somebody else, that's where you're going to get the new energy. That's where you're going to get the new face to come. And it's asking for those referrals. Even if you said to your friends who you invite all the time, hey, if you can't come, do you have 5 to 10 friends that you would love? You can even ask them as you're inviting them. Hey, I know we do this every month, and I would love to be able to invite more people to these events. Do you have a list of friends or families that, 5 or 10 names that you have? Could we reach out to them? Because if they're your friends, they could be like, hey, you know what? I never even thought about that. Yeah, let's call. I think she would love to come to this event. Ask that. It's asking for referrals. Or as you're inviting someone else, you say, hey, it's okay. Bring a friend or two. It's going to be 30 minutes, 40 minutes, not long. It'll be fun. Let's, the more people we have, the better it is. So you ask for those referrals when you extend the invitation. Because that way, maybe out of the referral, you may get 1 or 2 new people to come, but that's 1 or 2 people that you wouldn't have had you not asked for the referral, or if you had not extended the invitation. So again, the key is really understanding the audience and being prepared. And part of being prepared also is what is your business story? Why would you want that person to come? So for your meal shred, why do you want them to come? We know it's about sharing, and I'm saying this to anybody. So for your event, why do you want them to come personally? What does this mean to you when you invite someone to come to this event? And Andrea, feel free. And I don't know who the other person is on the phone, but
I'll just jump in too while you guys maybe ponder and think. But when I'm inviting to like a meal prep in particular, I think those are great for the sense of community, because so much conversation takes place. And we usually, no matter who's hosting them, because I've done, plenty myself and I still do them, you're always getting, your regulars or your loyal, happy customers, and they'd love to meal prep, and which is great because you throw those into the mix with some new people that you're hopefully bringing in. It just helps to reinforce the message that you're sharing and, you know, let them have exposure to somebody who's been on the product or meal prepping for longer, whether it's a month longer or 3 years longer, whatever it might be. But it also gives them that sense of community that they can step into and be a part of. Mm-hmm. So I think that the meal preps are great in that sense.
And I would say with the Design the Life You Love event, mm-hmm. I would have looked at people that came to that event and look for some new faces there to invite them to a meal prep. Because like you said, the meal prep, you get to see the community and it's going to be your regulars. But when you have an event that everybody can come to that's more public, you're going to get different types of people. And you're going to get people who will take a peek. And you may not get someone who wants to come to your house that feels that comfortable if they don't really know you. So sometimes it's kind of, you got to set it up in advance. So if you have like a Design Your Life and you see, and you also want to make sure you have people sign in, you know, or just say, you know, who invited you, and just make a note so that, let's just say Chrisanne invited, or Jen, you were away, but you invited 3 people that did show up. You want the team to know that they're coming and that they did show up, because they want to write that person's name so that we know to invite them to the next event that you have. And maybe they never showed up to any event before. So also taking a note of who did come for the follow-up is also key. But I would look at the big, more public event as an opportunity to see new faces and to create curiosity so that you can bring them in to the smaller community in your house. Because to me, and what teams are finding is you do get a different type of person. Someone who's coming into your house, they know you a little bit more. It's a little more intimate. The person that you have at these more public places, you don't really know. And it's very easy for me. It's not committed. I don't. So let's say Jen invites me to Maria's and you're going to do 5 inspirational stories, right? And you're like, hey, come, we're going to have this great event. It's going to be at Maria's. Get a cocktail, get some appetizers, come on your way home from work. That's going to be a different type of person that will stop by there versus if you say, hey, I'm having a meal prep at my house. I know you're friends with blah, blah, blah. Come with her. It's in your house. I may feel a little more committed. I don't really know if I'm going to show up. I really want to just go and I just want to leave real quick. They may not be as comfortable there as they would at Maria's. So when you think about audience and who you want to invite and how many people you want to show up, take those 2 and kind of juggle, because it's a different mindset. One is committal in your house, sitting on the couch, force fun. The other is on my way home, oh my goodness, easy in, easy out, grab a cocktail, bring my 2 friends, I'm out of here. Thanks, Jen, I had a great time. And you know what? The next time you have an event, I'm going to show up. So just really think about your environment and your community, because that does sway who's going to come. And then when you have those more public events, when you have the smaller ones, a little more intimate, a little more focused, they may be at, oh, you know what? Jen did invite me and I had a great conversation with Danielle, and wow, Chrisanne, her story was so inspirational. She showed me on the flyer that they're all going to be here. You know what? I would love to sit down and talk to them a little bit more. You see how that gives you, get that person a little comfortable, even though they haven't said yes to anything, but now they're coming to the next event. And when you know they're coming, you're going to ask them to invite somebody else. It's 1 or 2 people, and it's a meal prep, we're just sharing, learning about how to prepare. So, we can eat a little healthier. We know the way to do that is preparing the meal in advance. So giving them just some information again, why it's of value, how they're going to benefit from them. And oh, by the way, bring a friend or 2. So that weighs a lot into it too. And again, how are we inviting? Are we looking for the same people? So if it's an event that's about moms and your community is about moms, make it a point to maybe strike up some conversations with some different moms. Make it a point to just have some conversation with somebody different who you connect with to come. And I would say, again, that's being really focused on who do I want to come. If I want different people, then I have to, this week, if I want somebody to come to an event 2 weeks from now, I got to look for 10 different people. And that's where you just have to be focused on who are those new people. Might be going to a different grocery store. this week, or it might be standing in a different place when you go pick up the kids, or it might be, you know, standing in a different place where the kids are, you know, at softball or at dance class, so that you're able to talk to and extend to other people, not the same community. Chrisanne, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I want to ask you if you have any tips on inviting men to our events, because I do have men customers, and I sometimes feel like they're not coming because it's women. And maybe there's some little thing you can think of that would maybe put a twist on it. I don't know. I just would love them to be there.
Maybe it's doing different. Maybe it's in changing up what we do. And
Yeah.
And if you want a men's event, maybe having Cato on one of those flyers as one of the speakers, so that as you're talking to a man, they see a man's face.
Right.
That's very helpful, because I had someone who just signed up said, "Oh, we don't have enough men who signed up for the business. Why is that?" And I said, well, it's the same reason that your wife signed up for the business and you didn't. You had the same opportunity, but your wife connected with other ladies, and that connection is what's made her say yes. You're supporting her, but it made her say yes. What if you had went to an event that there were some guys there, or even if it was couples or it was a balance, but you saw people that you could personally connect with, that may have swayed you to say, oh my goodness, let me check this out. He said, yeah, you're right. I said, so it's all about the event. Again, we're showcasing people what we look like. And if the community looks like all women, if the community looks like all moms, if the community looks like all 50 something, and I'm not that, I'm sure not going to come. Even if I had my 50-something-year-old mother, I may still not tell her, because it's not an event that I want to go to. So we want to also be balanced kind of in, and it could be the same content. So let's say Design a Life You Love could be the same content every single time. How you mix it up is design a life you love, even if you're a mom with kids. Design a life you love that you never thought was possible. You know, and we can think about something like, you can add something that would be engaging for a millennial. It would be engaging for guys. Networking with people who have the same interests, or I don't know, you know, it's the same, and the stories just are different. So one might be a platform of moms, one might be a younger person, older person, a guy. One could be, you know, Danielle and her husband. He could tell his story 2 minutes of, oh my goodness, when my wife first started to talk about this business, I didn't think this was going to be a big thing. I just said, oh, this was going to be a hobby. And what I found is this community of people have now been introduced, and I see what this mission is about. So as her husband, I'm supporting. Now, if there's two guys in the audience, like, whoa, wow, there's a guy talking. He may not be selling, but he's piqued my interest. So if I'm that guy, maybe I'm going to tell my girlfriend, even if I may not, but I might tell my girlfriend, I may tell my mom about the next event that you have and bring them with me. So you see how that naturally can extend to somebody else. And some of the words we want to also say, if this isn't for you, do you know someone, you know, that may be interested at all of these events? That's kind of, you know, like closing the loop. Or if you don't think you're going to make this event, is there anyone else that you think this would be great for? We can send them a text together right now. I can hit them up on Facebook. You know, get that person to give you a name or two, because a lot of times it may not be for them, or they might not be interested, or I just might not be available this time, but they'll give you some people who may come. So again, being open to those opportunities, and what you show on that promotional piece is the audience that you're going to get. So be mindful and use each other as a connection. So let's say, Christine, you're talking to a guy, and maybe it was just women. Maybe it was the three of you who were on the flyer. Could Cato talk to him and say, hey, you know, I know Chrisanne was talking to you, and I signed up for this business. It's an awesome community, and I would love to have a couple of guys, you know, be quite honest, show up at an event too, because this is a business for everyone. If you're, you know, if you're looking for a side hustle, this could be it. We all don't need enough fruits and vegetables. Whatever the conversation is, you can have that other person be that connection to kind of say, oh, okay, there is going to be a diverse group, you know, that's going to be there. Use each other to do that. Even Greta, and you can do the same, even though you may not be right here physically, you're doing things, and you want to be able to share what you're doing, because sharing what you're doing, they may be able to utilize that as well, you know? You've been doing salad and draw parties. So, however, use each other to be able to be that third-party validation. And Jen, that could be the same for you. Maybe getting the invitation from someone else. Danielle could say, hey, I know you're always at Jen's, meal preps. I just want to say thank you. We're having another one. I look forward to seeing you. And I would love, this is such an opportunity for us to come together as a community. Feel free, bring, one or two people. Do you have a couple of names? Because, we want to make sure we have enough, jars or whatever it is. We can make it so that you're getting the person's name just so that you can make that connection. We could say, want to make sure that we have enough of something so that maybe Danielle can get that name from your friend, which may be easier for her to get than even for your friend to give you. Because it might be kind of like, I don't want to ask my friend for a name. They, there might be so. Let Danielle, reach out to them because no doubt they would have seen her. So use each other, and even though you may have the same people coming, have a different type of contact. Have someone else reach out to them. Have somebody else say, thanks for coming. Would you, could you, do you have someone else? Is, some questions. Utilize also different videos as part of an invitation. If it's about meal prep, maybe sending the invitees one of our Farm Fresh videos, or maybe one of the doctor videos that talk about how important it is to eat healthier and how, when we plan for it, whatever it is, use different tools to also add to your invite. Because number one, it makes it more engaging than you just asking me every single time. But you're also giving me, no, because let's face it, because like, Jen's calling or she sent me a text and she's having that event again. But if you sent that text and added a video, I might say, hey, it might prompt me to ask you about the video. So use different, tools to engage with people. Make what you do different every single time. Having, 5 or 10 different people that you invite along with your regulars. Being more intentional with the people that you invite and following up. Because Jen, it could be also, since you know them so well, make sure, hey, I know you talked about, Susie, bring her. What is she into? What is she like? Because maybe this meal prep, we might change it up a bit. You might change it up for different types of food, or, it could be, again, it could be the same thing, but maybe your content or the guts of it is a little different. To make it a little different, to make it a little fun. Maybe it's, meal prep, but you add an activity to it that makes it a little different, a little fun. Oh, bring all the kids, or this time bring your husbands, or bring bring somebody else. Give them a reason to bring the new. And it could be one simple thing that you do to change it up. That, salad and like I saw on Facebook, someone did salad, salsa. So they did salsa lessons, and I actually did it at a studio. But you could do the same thing. You could do something fun at the house. That's another added activity. That's just like, oh, well, this is a little different. Wow, Jen changed it up. It's not just a meal prep. We're adding another element. It's like, wow, that was cool. So think about 1 or 2 things that you can change it up that would attract 1 or 2 different people. Mm-hmm. And it really is pacing yourself on the interaction from the time the event to the 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, getting those maybes, getting those yeses, and turning them in, and then following up. Just following up. Again, you didn't come, here's what you missed. You did come, what did you like, what you could do, and get those connection calls after, get people in front of each other. Oh, I saw you talking to Danielle. Would you be open to have another conversation with her? This is... ask. Don't be afraid to ask the question, especially those that we're comfortable with, and know the community. And that's one of the things. And the other thing too is when we're having these events, what are our own stories? What's going to make them want to come? So we talk about meal prep, and I keep picking on you, Jen, but what's your product story? What do you tell them about the product? Why would I want to even think about coming to the meal prep? Or Chrisanne, if it's about, you always talk about this business, design the life that you love. What is your business story that gets people interested to want to know, should I even bother? So we have to really, and that would be one that I would love to really come and let's sit down and just kind of rip it off and say, what am I saying? Is it engaging to me? Am I giving them just enough to make them curious? Am I giving them too much? Am I not giving them anything at all? And that's just, we want to be just mindful. I always say, well, if I was talking to someone else, is what I'm saying of value to the person?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And really looking at that. So looking at our business stories, and being comfortable with really just talking to people. Because again, the teams that are doing more every day, they're talking to 10, 15 people a day. Cold turkey, they're going through the warm market and they're just working on their dream team. People who you know, it's like, let's go through and find out, asking for referrals, just having those conversations. And again, I think part of it is knowing where you're going, because, okay, I'm inviting, but who am I inviting? Because if you're always inviting, you know, the person who's really not the life of the party or really is not engaging, then you may not be bringing it. And if you know you're that person that this event can be great, who are you inviting? Are you really inviting someone that you want to come into the business? Do you know, and it's a mindset too, business product. How many events are we having that are business and then product versus product and then business? Because that also has a lot to do with your invitation. We may be all gung-ho to talk about the product and inviting someone to a product event, but when it comes to a business event, it's kind of like, oh, I don't know what to say, or this person might be judging me because I'm doing this type of business. Kind of unveiling, how can you talk about what you do in a way that you're comfortable and allows people to come in and want to take a look at what you're doing. So that also is confidence in your message and what you're saying. Are you confident in what you're doing, that you are willing to share with someone? You know what? Hey, yeah, I'm in the network marketing. You know, understanding you are a network marketer. You are a salesperson to a certain degree because we have a product and we're selling. You are a customer service. So understanding your role, but being okay with that. At the end of the day, we're not forcing anybody. We're not convincing anybody. We're just saying, take a look. Perhaps I have something that you might be interested in. So really kind of unveiling and trying to figure out for my own self, how comfortable am I talking about the business? Or am I not as comfortable as I thought I was? Because it starts with your mindset. If you go into a mindset of, we're having an event, I hate events, I get the same people, I really don't even know what to say when I like, you're not going to get those the right people coming in. Versus, oh, I really don't like events, but I know I need to get comfortable with events. Let's work together as a team and let me see what I can be doing differently. And that's each person, you know, looking at themselves and saying, am I going to do this or am I not? Because let's face it, we had so many teams that they hated events, and every event they did was a virtual, which was okay, but they weren't getting the people that they wanted. It was because it was all virtual. I mean, technology is great for a specific audience, but if that's your audience, you want to get them to your house, well, guess what? You can't do it virtually all the time. So, you know, just working on things and chunking it out and saying, okay, I got to work on my 20 to 25 people. It may start with the list. And then the next one may be, okay, what am I saying? What is my business story? What is my product story? When I'm inviting, where am I going? Am I always going to the moms at school? Or am I not taking advantage of people that I may come across that I might see in the store when I go, you know, to the grocery store, when I go to the department store? Being more mindful. So really being intentional with events is one in your business and your product story for sure. And I know, you know, we're almost out of time, but really taking the opportunity to sit down, and to me, those type of conversations, we really kind of want to rip it apart. Because I did one in Philadelphia where we talked about things that scared us about talking to people. You know, well, I don't feel like I have enough information to share about the product. Okay, we talked about that. Or I know it starts with my DMO. I don't even know where to start when it comes to events. So ripping that up. So really just workshopping it out so that we know how to kind of unveil the things that are bothering you to help you move forward. Because if we don't address it, we'll get the same thing over and over again. And sometimes it's really good just to put it on paper. It's like, you know what, I hate events. That's why I only get 1 or 2 people. Or, and I'm not, I'm just saying it kind of, what you put in is what you get out. So, events is definitely, we know that is the one, if everybody had an event every week, whether it was in person or virtually, you will see your business grow, because you're getting people in, you're getting people to take a look. And it is the more events that you do, the more open and diverse you can be with who is talking, and how you're going about inviting is going to be very, very beneficial. And this team, you guys, I mean, you have such an opportunity for you. And I know in New York, and Danielle was telling me a little bit about the area and the type of people, even looking at some of the barriers that you go through, it's like, how much do you say to the moms or not? Or Christine, how much do you say to your coworkers or not, because they're this type of person? It's like, I can't say too much because everybody's doing a direct selling something. And if I ask them to this event, they're gonna be like, oh no, it's another event. So really kind of anticipating what the response could be, but being prepared for how to respond, or being prepared with what to say. And that's okay, because some people, you're like, I have events that I have, and I say, you know what, I can't even say anything to this audience because I know how it's going to be perceived. So you don't even go there. But again, understanding who your audience is can help you anticipate how to invite and the words to say, and know that if they say, oh, well, I just went to a party last week with our other neighbor, now I don't want to go to this one. Well, how do we respond to that? What do we say? So there's a lot of opportunities that we can do to rip this apart.
Yeah, was that helpful, guys? That was I wrote like 3 pages of notes actually, Joanna.
I know it's a lot, and I was kind of picking back and forth, but I wanted to be you guys telling me and using those kind of as examples, or what if the things we can say. And the more we talk about it, and the more we kind of go back and say, okay, how can we, if I did one thing a little differently, not that anything that we've done is wrong, but if I could do it a little differently, would I get a different result?
Right.
And that's how you look at it. If I invited one person who I totally would never invite, but I'm going to take the chance and I'm going to invite this one person and focus on getting that person there, what would that do? Right.
And looking at how we're doing it honestly too, because I could even say too, there's events where, I've been the person that's only invited 2 people to the event, and guess what? Maybe they don't nobody shows up, or I've gone through the effort to have that list that you're talking about of like 20 names, and making a really strong effort to invite a lot of people, and you end up with maybe 5 guests in the room, and that's a great feeling. But it is, looking at where do we need to do the work for ourselves to where can we get better. And I like where you're going with this, and I hope you guys all found value in this. And I like the idea of a workshop style, getting together and creating our story, making sure we're all comfortable.
I have to get on another customer call. Yeah. So you guys talk about it, but I think I would love to come and workshop out and just sit and just rip things apart and just, have some real dialogue.
Thank you, Joanna. Thanks. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hopping on, and
thank you.
You got it. All right, thank you, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Night.
If you guys want to hop on for 1 second longer, first of all, I'll stay in record mode so that those that are not able, they can hear what we powwow. But was that helpful?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
That was great. And thank you for staying on. I didn't expect it to be an hour. And so I won't keep you guys on much later, but with her proposing a workshop style get together for us, for the team, for us here, for those that aren't on as well, to get together and work on crafting our stories. We know, and you said before, our number one tool in this business really is your own personal story, because it's what you have to share with everybody. And some of us might be more comfortable sharing our stories than others. And you know, even though I've been doing this like 4 years, my story still like evolves and changes, and you have to be comfortable knowing. I like what she was saying, like when you're inviting somebody, what part of your story do you share? Did you share too much of it? Did you not share enough of it? Did you share enough to intrigue them to want to come? So I know for me personally, it would be helpful to have her in a room and like workshop style. Would you guys be down for that?
Sure.
Hello, can you hear me?
Talking in person or on
Yes.
Zoom?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, hi. This is Yvonne. Yvonne.
Hi. How are you?
Hi.
I didn't know what phone
I'm
number
well.
was on.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you could see me or hear me.
Okay. Yeah, it just is a phone number. So thanks for hopping on. You were on the whole time?
Pretty much. I got on a little later after 8, but realized that it was talking about how to, improve on building your events with your personal true stories with Truth Plus. So I'm very new at this. I wanted to listen more before making any, but I don't know who's on right now because I walked away and came back.
Okay. Well, so myself,
Is this Danielle speaking?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Hi, Danielle.
Hi.
How are you?
How are? I'm glad you were able to hop on. And Ann is on, and Chris Ann, and Jen Birdstein, and Greta, who's in Florida.
Hi, everyone.
The rest of us are in New York. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Hello, everyone. So I'm glad to be part of the first meeting.
Yes. We're happy
to listen, to learn better. So when you speak about your workshop style, if that's what you're going to graduate to, then I'm happy because I'm a beginner and I'm going to be honest, I'm going to slowly get involved, but I'm going to try the product as well to build my true story and engage on a more, authentic level.
Absolutely.
But I got in respect Duana's advice into how to use some of those tools to build, especially, for myself, I'm appreciative of that. But any workshop you choose to build, I hope to be part of that because I like to launch it a little faster than not. But
absolutely,
just want to say hi.
And events are a really big way to do that.
Yes.
Just leave it. I'll put it away for you.
Hold on. I'm just writing something. I know. I think Melissa is using her Zoom ID number for the 9 o'clock for her, or 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock Pacific time, which is 9 o'clock Eastern time. So I know. Because we have some other team members hopping on from the West Coast side. But in terms of doing the workshop, for those that are on, since you guys are on right now, is an evening better than doing something in the daytime? Because I know some people work during the day. So I want most people to be able to utilize this opportunity. And of course, I'll see what Duana's schedule is like. It sounded like, from my conversation with her and what she was just saying, is that she actually would come, and Greta, I know you're in Florida. So we always do the best we can to include you into everything. But doing an in-person workshop style where it's much more interactive. Not that Zoom isn't interactive, but
that sounds great. That sounds great.
In person. Thank you for chiming in.
And that's why it's probably better when we all get together with her.
Right, in person.
Yeah.
Would an evening be better?
I think daytime. I mean, for me, daytime, I just have more energy during the day.
Yeah, I think we're going to
fewer distractions. But
okay.
I know some people do work. So
I don't want to exclude people. So it may have to be in the evening. You may have to take a nap that day.
Okay.
Take it like a certain time and just for, not long, but.
Yeah. And I'm going to see what her schedule and what she was thinking as well too. But, and if we would fall again in doing like a Monday time slot, if we were using our team time slot again, like the next time we would meet together as a team would be on Monday, February 11th.
Well, would we all meet with her together, or would we have like? Okay.
Yeah, it would be a team, all of us together.
That the Monday after.
Yes, when we get back.
Yep.
Yeah, when we get back.
I know, that's the next day, right? That night before.
Yeah. So I'll check with her, but I'm excited about it because I think it'd be great. And personally for me, what I'm feeling coming off of this too, and with all the notes that I've taken is one, and I'll be honest, knowing I have 0 events on the calendar for February, which shame on me. As a leader on the team, I should at least have something, and I don't. But it's that flip-flop between who are the people that I would want to be inviting to an event, and would I want to design an event for a certain type of person, right? Or if it is just a meal prep, like going back to the good old meal prep, is it doing the meal prep and putting a spin on it so that it's not just a meal prep, it's something else? It's that I teach everyone salsa, and I don't know, probably not, but you get where I'm going with this. I liked that idea too. So I know I will be looking at my own calendar and seeing what I can get on there, and always revisiting too that list of names. That's something I personally need to get better at too. So I would challenge everybody to do the same thing, and to put pen to paper the people that you want to be inviting to things, and maybe that's how you come up with what your next event would be, because it's going to maybe works out better to design it to those people, if that makes sense. Sound good?
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Well, good thing we did an 8 o'clock call, because if this was a 9 o'clock call, y'all would be sleeping.
Speak for yourself.
I had my brave leaders before this. I've literally been on a conference call for 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Would you like to go stretch your legs?
Yes, that I need to do. And no one has, Jake snuck down here before, but nobody, dogs are upstairs. Nobody's come in here because they know I needed privacy, and no one even, they're all
Perfect.
stuck somewhere in my house anyway.
Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you guys for getting on. I really do appreciate it. I will post this recording up. I'm going to stop the recording now.